Now let's take a trip to Mokwa. In disaster situations, timely relocation can mean the difference between safety and prolonged suffering. But in Niger State, many victims of the recent flooding in Mokwa are refusing to move to designated relief camps. According to the Acting Director General of the State Emergency Management Agency, Ibrahim Hussaini, this refusal stems from deep-rooted social ties among residents, many of whom are choosing to stay with neighbors rather than endure the uncertainty of temporary shelters. He added that the humanitarian support has been mobilized, with agencies like NEMA and UNICEF already erecting tents in safe zones. Still, convincing the flood victims to relocate remains a major challenge, a reminder that post-disaster recovery is as much a human issue as it is logistical. I mean, Asuko, yesterday we heard of reports of inadequate food and shelter. But this time, why would the victims refuse to move to the relief camps provided by the Niger State Emergency Management Agency? Why would they do that?
Well, the thing is, maybe they have gone there and they have seen that maybe the place is not really conducive for them, you know, but the thing is, it's just temporary. So I just want to believe that the NEMA people should keep talking to them, because now that they have food and then they have shelter, because they were actually complaining about shelter then, because most of them were actually going to neighbors' houses to stay, relatives, you know, and all that. Now they have a temporary shelter, you know, and NEMA should just make sure that the place is a bit conducive. We are not saying it should be like a palatial, you know, palace, you know, somewhere that they can lay their heads and then the next day they'll be able to, you know, take their bath and go to their any other thing they want to do, especially seeing how they can rebuild. Thankfully, the president has, you know, said that 2 billion will be released to rebuild. And that rebuilding process is what we should all be thinking of. When is it going to start? How is it going to start? Who is the contractor? You know, we need to start. They just have to respect and see how they can support NEMA. Because if they don't support NEMA, the rebuilding process will not start.
Absolutely.
You know, so the victims, it's just unfortunate that this happened. Nobody prays that disaster should happen or be caught in when disaster happens. But one way or the other, when it happens, just respect the emergency responders.
Absolutely.
Because they are the professionals. They will tell you, okay, move to this side. Just move. Go to this place. Go, just move. You know, just go. You know, but I hope that the victims are, you know, watching us, and those who are closer to the victims will watch us. If they tell them to move to the temporary sites, you know, place shelter that they are provided, let them go. It's temporary.
Absolutely.
And while the government will be thinking of doing the rebuilding.
You know. I mean, Charles Sidell, talk to me. Can we say that the people don't even trust, the flood victims don't trust the state officials to provide them shelter? Is it that they don't trust the shelter provided by the states? I mean, why are they refusing to move?
Well, Benga, there are so many factors responsible. I mean, trust deficit is there. We suffered so much. I mean, government, you have this trust deficit. Everything government says, oh, Boshema Sonia, as Yoruba would say. That's what they talk. And then again, when you have a mixture of psychology and sociology, you know, it's always a problem when these two meet. Because you look at people who are attached to their ancestry. It's difficult for you to uproot somebody from his ancestry. That's why Asukwo is Akwa Ibom. It's in Lagos, but the city is Akwa Ibom. I am Edo. I've been in Lagos all my working life. I still think Edo. Babajide, our friend, who will be in Lagos all his life, is sitting Kogi and all that. Look at Brazil. You have people who were taken away from here in the days. I mean, so before even the 19th century, in slavery. If you go to Brazil today, you still think that you are in Yoruba land. You have they're talking about the Shah, they're talking about all this other one and all that, because people do not want to be uprooted from their ancestry. You may physically uproot them from their ancestry, but that is innate in them. That's why I say it's a mixture of psychology and the sociology. Now, when you look at it, when you are relocating them temporarily as a stopgap, I mean, you take them to somewhere. The question is, do you have enough information that can give them that succor, that can give them the hope. How long would they be there? Are they going to be there forever? Would they lose their ancestry? Would they lose their ancestral home and all that?
Okay.
If they are going to be there for 6 months, I mean, you let them know this period is 6 months. You are going to be there. You will know it's not the best of condition. You have your own comfort.
Yes.
That's why people would rather die when they are attached to their ancestry than you give them even to live in even high up there in the skyscraper. So what the NEMA needs to do, NEMA needs to debrief them. NEMA needs to give them hope. NEMA needs to let them know exactly that they are transparent. Because as I said, the level of mistrust, the trust deficit is very high. So NEMA has to do a reorientation to let them know that this job is stopgap measure. Okay. We will do something to rebuild your homes and take you there maybe in November or December or whatever. I think that should help them to begin to think positively in the manner of speaking.
I mean, our heart goes out to the victims, you know, in Mokwa, those that died, those displaced and all. But yesterday we heard that the vice president, visited there. Talk to me. How will you assess the visit, and how will this visit impact, you know, the flood victims?
You know, I think it's good that the vice president actually, because I was wondering, is somebody from the federal government not going to be there? You know, there was a time I was saying, you know, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs should be there, sleeping with them, knowing
I think it should have really, you know, should be there.
But good a thing that yesterday the vice president went there and he saw things for himself, you know, because the president had ordered that relief material should be sent there. But going there firsthand, you know, to see the devastation, now, you know, would have, you know, given him...
Asoko, the vice president pledged 2 billion naira relief, you know, relief package to the victim.
To rebuild.
Yes, what is the state government's plan to make sure that these packages sent by the president and all of gets to the victims themselves?
No, I think if you are
so
talking
that
about
people
relief,
will not enrich their pockets.
I know that this is a community that everybody knows everybody. So even when the relief materials came, because we have a correspondent there, Ichenemi, who has been doing a fantastic job since the incident happened, you know, the way they organize themselves, you would know that this is a community that they really need quick intervention, and that quick intervention they are ready to support, you know. And just like Charles just said, trust and mistrust. All NEMA needs to do, because they are doing well now, they are sending materials. All they need to do is to communicate properly with these people. We are going to rebuild your, you know, houses. We are going to rebuild your community. It's going to take us 2-3 months, maybe after the rainy season or before the rainy season. But this is a temporary site, shelter. We'll just move there. This is what we want to do. You know, so that when this relief once this relief materials come, I believe that with the mechanisms that they have, because even with the small relief that they send, I know that they are taking it house by house. They know this family. Oh, there are 15 here. Oh yeah, take 15 bags. Not that you give them less or more.
And you write it on paper that you're giving them.
They know. In fact, that's why I'm telling you that they are close-knitted families. You know, so they know that, okay, this family, this homo, there are 15 of them, we know them.
We know them.
So they take it there. Oh, there are 10, yeah, the same thing. So, all right. So there's no how that really, there won't be accountability in that
Charles
process.
Sidel, accountability here. How do we make sure that this things get to the victims?
It can't go over. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I said, how do we make sure that these relief materials, you know, gets to the victims themselves, so that some people will not, you know, start to cash out from this?
Well, there have been people who do not have the mind of humans. When people are facing misfortunes, they want to cash out on misfortune of the people. They want to cash out, and they do not even have any scruples. I mean, let people, it said they could go to hell for all they care. But so that's why I talked about the trust deficit. You know, there have been reports of people who are facing misfortunes, and then like for instance, the 2 billion naira the federal government has pledged. How would they disburse this money? Would it get to the targeted victim? like this is just an aside. Professor Odinkalu, I tweeted today that even the governor of the state is somewhere outside the state. And then these people are in misfortune, wallowing in misfortune. The governor is not even there. You look at the report when the vice president visited. I wouldn't know where was the governor. Was the governor in attendance or something? Let's look at that.
Right.
I mean, it's an assignment for all of us. So, but I think, as I said, the people have to be reassured that federal government indeed is going to succor them. Is going to take the burden of their chest and shoulders, and then give them a measure of comfort. Right. It could be a modicum level very soon. That will help them. Yes.
I mean, my prayer is that we'll not be having this kind of conversation next year about this kind of devastation. In 1 second, are you optimistic that by next year we won't be having this kind of conversation? I'll start with you, Asuko. Are you optimistic? Well, yes or no?
The disaster will always happen. It happened last year and nobody knew. But the only thing I keep saying is that let us be prepared.
Be prepared. Charles, there, one second.
I am not convinced because there are people who have positioned themselves to make money from misfortune. They are waiting again for another. Once that is rainy season, some disaster will come, and then they will
All right then. All right then. Charles, I appreciate you for doing this with us on Journalist Hangout. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And also, Asuko James, as always, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Yes, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.